My name is Dawn Shank, and I am from Scott J Salon in New York City. So today we're going to be talking about how to make levels when you've run out. We're just going to have some fun today. We're going to be doing a little bit of math, and so don't get scared. I would suggest grabbing some paper and pen really quick wherever you are, because you're probably going to want to take some notes today. And that way you can take your notes back with you in the salon and you don't have to go back through the video again. So let's do this. So how many of you have ever been in the salon and run out of a level? Like, let's say you needed a level 6 and you've run out of it. Most of the time we can just go to either side of that level, a 5 and a 7, and we can make those, mix them together in equal parts, and we can create the level 6 that we need. But when inventory starts to really get stretched, sometimes either, a pandemic or you have a holiday rush or something like that, sometimes we get a little further stretched out on the amount of levels that we have. So I wanted to keep this really simple for you and make it easy. You can do it in the salon really simply. So I'm going to explain this to you in 2 ways. We are going to have a really easy method that anybody can do. And then I'm also going to explain the math behind it. So if you are a math person, you can actually check yourself to make sure that you've done it correctly. But I find that the easy method is the easiest way to do it. So here we go. So this is my first one here. So this says I need a 5. But all I have that's closest to it is a 4 and an 8. So what I do on a piece of paper is I write down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can do a little dance if you want to, or you can just keep on going. So here we go. I'm going to use my red marker so that this really shows up for you. So I write down what I have and then the numbers in between it. So I have a 4 and I have an 8, and then I write down the 5, 6, 7 in between. Then I'm going to say, okay, I need a 5, so I'm going to circle the 5, and then I'm going to count 1 back to the 4. Now, when I think about mixing color like this, I think about it in parts or in 10-gram increments, okay? So here, this would indicate 1 part. But I'm not going to give the 1 part to the 4. I'm actually going to give it to an 8. So I'm going to make that 10 grams. So 10 grams of 8N. And then I'm going to count from my 5 to my 8. There's 1, 2, 3. So that would be 3 parts that I would need. So that would equal 30 grams. So I would need 30 grams of my 4N. So what you do is when you count back that number, so however many spaces that goes, it wouldn't go to the one that you're counting to, it would go to the one on the opposite end. So if I go 1 space here, that's going to go 10 grams to the 8. And then when I count from my 5 to my 8, it's 1, 2, 3, so that equals 3 parts or 30 grams, and that would go to the opposite end, that would go to the 4. So I would end up with 10 grams of 8N and then 30 grams of 4N. How does that sound to everybody? Give me some hearts if it makes sense. All right, so here we go. So now let's talk about the math of it. So if we have 8, so 1 part of 8, because we did 1 space here, so that would go 1 part 8. So I would write down 1 8 here, okay? And then for the 30 grams of the 4, so it's 1, 2, 3 that would go to the part 4, so that would be 3 parts of 4. So I would write down 3 4s. 1, 2, 3. So then I would add those together. So that's 4, 8, 12. And then this would be 20. So I would take that 20 and then divide it by the number of parts that I have, which would be 4. So divide that by 4 and that would equal 5. So that would be my 5. So that's our first one. All right, so let's do one more. Okay, so here we need an 8 and we have a 6 and a 9 that's closest to it. All right, so all right, so I need an 8, I have a 6 and a 9N. So I write down 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I am going to circle my 8 because that's what I need, okay? So here we go. So I will count back to my 6, 2 spaces, so 1, 2. So that would go to my 9. So that would be 20 grams of 9N. All right? And then I would count from my 8 to my 9. That's 1 space. So that would be 10 grams to my 6. So that would equal 30 grams of color. So how many of our clients need 30 grams of color? Not that many. If they need 60, that's great because we can just double this. But if they need 40, we need to figure out how to make that. So I am going to, the easiest way to do this is to look at how many more grams of color do I need. I need 10 more grams of color. So if I look at just the first 2 numbers here, so I've got a 2 here and a 1 here, I know that that's 3, okay? And so if I need 10, well, the closest to that would be 9. So if I multiply each of those by 3, this would become 2 times 3 is 6. So I would get 6 grams on this side and I would get 3 grams here. I still need 1 more gram. The easiest way to do that is just to split it between the two. So 0.5 and 0.5. So then you would have a 40 gram mixture. So you would have, so then this would equal 26.5 grams of your 9N and then 13.5 grams of your 6N. So then if we wanted to figure this out by the math of it, then we would go through and we would take our 2 parts of our 9. So we would do 2 9s, 9 and 9. And then we would do 1 part of our 6. And then we would add that up together. So 9 and 9 is 18, and then 16 is, and then adding 6 more is 18, 24. I'm doing this without my handy dandy calculator this time. All right, so then I have 3 parts here, so then I would divide that by 3, and then that would equal 8. So that would give me my 8N. So that would, so 9 plus 9 plus 6, do my addition sign, that equals 24. And then I would divide that by 3, and then that would equal 8. How does that sound so far? Sound good? Does this seem like something that you would be able to use easily behind the chair? Awesome, very good. All right, here we go. So let's do another one. So here we need a 7N, but we only have a 4 and a 9 that are closest to that 7. So here we are going to write down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are really stretched with our inventory now. So here we go. So we circle our 7 because that's what we need. And then we would count back to our 4. So that's 1, 2, 3. So I need 3 parts of not my 4, but my 9. So that's going to be 30 grams of my 9. And then I'm going to count from my 7 to my 9. So that's 1, 2 spaces. So that's 20 grams of color. Okay. So that's going to equal 50 grams of color. So if we're thinking about, most of the time we don't do formulas with 50 grams of color. So how do we go and work this one back to get 40 grams of color? So here we go. So this time, instead of adding what we need, like we did in the one before, we're going to take away. So here we have a 3 and we have a 2, which would equal 5, okay? And we need to take away 10 grams, so we just need to double that. So here I'm going to subtract 6 from this, and that is going to equal 24 grams of 9N. And then here I'm going to subtract 4 grams, and then that would equal 16 grams. So then that would give me a 40 gram mixture of 7N. So that would, both of those together, if we added those, would be 40 grams of color. So 40 grams of 7N. So we would do 24 grams of 9N and 16 grams of 4N, and that is going to give us 40 grams of 7N total. Okay? So here we go. So let's do the math on this one. So here we have our 4, we have our 9. So here we go. So we have 3 parts of 9 and 2 parts of 4. So I'm going to do this up here this time so I have a little bit more space. So I have a 9, a 9, a 9, and then 2 parts of 4. So I'm going to do 2 4s. So I'm going to add this together. Oh my goodness. 9 and 9 is 18. Plus 9 more is 27. And then 31, and then 35. So add those together, and that's 35. Or my plus sign goes up there, sorry. So then I have 35, and then I'm going to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is going to equal 7. What I would like for you to do, if you have your paper and pen, I would love for you to try this one. I'm going to really talk through this one very slowly to give you a chance to kind of work on this yourself. So this one's practice. So we need a 6, and we have a 5 and a 9. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. Go ahead and circle what we need. All right, so here we go. So we're going to circle what we need. I'm going to go with 6. Hopefully you're ahead of me. All right. Then what's the first thing that we do? We are going to count back. So we're going to go from our 6 to our 5. How many spaces did we go? 1. All right. So where is that going to go to? Where is that part of color or that 10 grams of color going to go? It's going to go not here, but here. So we're going to go 10 grams of our 9N. All right. Then what's next? So I want you to count back to your 9. All right. I'll let you do it first, and then I'll go after you. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. So 3 parts of not 9, but 5. So 30 grams of 5N. Okay? So when we add those together, that comes up to a 40 gram mixture. So that equals 40 grams of our 6N, which is what we needed. All right. Now let's go with some math. So we need, so we need the 6, we have the 5 and the 9, we have 1 part of 9, so how many 9s would we write down? 1, right? We'd write down 1. And then for our 5, how many 5s would we write down? 3. So we have 5, 5, and 5. We add those together, and what do we get? We have 5, 10, 15, and then 9 is 24. then we're going to divide that by what? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to divide it by 4. What does 24 divided by 4 equal? I'll let you use your calculator if you need to. It is going to equal 6. So that's going to give us our 6n. So if you need a 80-gram mixture, you could just double all of this. And then if you need a 60-gram mixture, then you would use half of this and half of this to add it to this. So it would be 15 grams of 9 and 45 grams of 5, and that would give you a 60-gram mixture. What I would like for you to do is to let me know in the comments which method you like the most. Do you like the easy method, or are you a person that likes the math method? So you can either write easy or math in the comments and let me know which one you will be using in the salon. I would love for you to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is DawnsYPants, DAWNSYPANTS. And then also check out haircolormagic.net. All right, well, I want to thank you all for coming on here with me today. So take care, stay well, and peace, love, and hairspray. Bye.